South Dakota struggled a little bit on the defensive side of the ball. That led to some personnel changes, some different focus in terms of what you guys were going to go try and do on the field and how you were going to go about doing those things. You bring in Travis Johansson, a first-year defensive coordinator, young guy, brought a lot of energy with him. You said already during media day, Bob, though, that you thought they were actually ahead of where you thought they might be at that point. Is that still the case now today as we hit game week?
Well, we got a lot in. You always worry about with the fact you get 15 days of spring practice when you bring in a new system, and then you get into fall camp. Are you going to be able to get all of your package in? But I think what Travis did and what the staff did on that side of the football was got the things in that we felt that we needed to get in to be really good. And as we sorted out our personnel a little bit, some of the package that we thought maybe didn't quite fit because of our personnel strengths and where some of our personnel was not as strong, they didn't put in. And so we feel like we got the package in that we're ready to build off of as we go into game week.
For those that might not understand schemes and all that, what are some of the things that are going to be obviously different from what they have been the previous couple of years?
Well, I think the biggest difference is you're going to see us play in a three-man front at times. And not that that will be the case every snap, but where last year we never played in a three-man front, it was always a four-man front. You're going to see four-man front. You're going to see three-man front. You're going to see different looks out of those fronts in terms of where our linebackers are playing. You have to be a pretty astute fan to recognize some of the things that are different in coverage, but that will be the most noticeable differences in where you'll have guys that will be playing on the line of scrimmage one snap and off the line of scrimmage the next snap.
As we look at it positionally now, let's go front to back, and like on the offensive side with the offensive line. So one of the areas that you guys have struggled, particularly in the depth department, has been that defensive front, and that is one area I think where it's obvious just by the number of bodies you have available to you now that you're in a much better spot there. But it's not just depth; it seems like it's a very quality depth.
Yeah, we can easily go too deep across the defensive front this year and put what we feel are high quality players on the turf. Starting first, it's a position group also that we've got some seniors. Starting with a senior group there of Darren Greenfield, who had, again, receiving a lot of preseason accolades and deservingly so. I think the good thing for fans to know about Darren is he played all of last year injured and battled through the season, had surgery in the off season. Back to 100%, has looked different in camp than he did last fall. Lou Peguero, another guy that didn't play much last year due to injury, but had been coming on really strong at the end of 2017, and maybe has had as good a camp as anybody on the defensive side of the football. And then you add some additional seniors there. In Devlon Whitcomb, and who was a steady performer for us in 2017. He also missed a lot of 2018 with injury, and Cam Klein, who missed part of the season as well in 2018. So those four seniors really give us a lot of experience and all capable of playing at a high level. But then we can back those guys up with guys like Jack Coker and Jacob Headley, who have played a lot of snaps for us over the last 2 years, and Nick Kramer and a young guy, Brendan Webb, who has added greatly to the defensive end group. So it's nice a position group to have depth because you want to keep fresh defensive linemen on the field.
Linebackers are always important, and you want to talk numbers. There's a lot of linebackers. I think you got 16 on your roster right now. And that first group is real solid, starting with Jack Cochran in the middle.
Yeah, Jack Cochran, again, the linebacker position's a little bit like our offensive line. We don't have a lot of starts. Jack Cochran brings a lot of starts to the table. Other than him, there aren't a lot of guys that bring a lot of starts, but we feel good about the quality with the four linebacker system. Guys like Jake Matthew and Jake Richardson guys that are big, physical, guys play on that outside linebacker position. Have given us some good depth there. Jack Cochran, and then you're going to see a lot of guys in that other inside linebacker position. Guys like Jakari Starling. A lot of younger, whether they're redshirt freshmen, sophomores, but guys that we feel good about in terms of their athleticism and what they bring. But again, some of them will be making their first starts. But that's a position group that I like their athleticism and gives us some flexibility in what we're doing, both in coverage and in the run game.
In the secondary, corner was a spot where there weren't a lot of bodies at all last year. We keep coming back to this depth thing, and that's just something you guys have really hit on in recruiting over the past couple of cycles. And quarterback is one of those spots where suddenly Mark Watson has a whole bunch of new guys to use at his disposal. And again, you've added a lot of athleticism and speed, I think, is a key word with that group.
Yeah, we're going to put a lot of pressure on those positions. And, Mark Collins, who missed a lot of 2018, I know that sounds like a recurring theme, but we really, had a number of key injuries defensively a year ago. Is back and playing really had a great camp, playing at a really high level. Cam Tisdale, who was forced into playing as a true freshman and had his ups and downs, but overall we felt good about the way he played. He's back. We've added a transfer there by the name of Bakari Goodson, who's a transfer from the University of Massachusetts, where he started a number of games to give us a little bit more depth there. And then there's a couple of other younger guys that have come along really nicely that we feel good about in terms of our depth. And so now, instead of having two guys that we had confidence in, I think we can go 3, 4, maybe even 5 deep at that position.
I think you feel the same way about your safeties too, and you start with a couple of really solid guys who've had their injury issues themselves in Phillip Powell and Mike Johnson, but that's a good way to start the very back end of your defense.
Yeah, we have 3 returning starters at safety for 2 positions. When you look at, Phillip Powell, who another guy that missed the majority of the year last year due to injury, and he's back and healthy. Mike Johnson, who you mentioned, and E.J. Reed, both of whom, have started a bunch of games for us over the last 2 years and bring a lot of experience to that position, which acts really as the quarterback of our defense. And so you could see looks where you get all 3 of those guys on the field and as the situation presents itself.
South Dakota's going to have a different look, a lot of different personnel on the field, a new man calling the shots defensively in Travis Johansson, but it certainly seems like it could be a very exciting year defensively and a much improved year defensively for South Dakota on the defensive side of the football.